This work session, regular meeting of the Township Council is called to order. Madam Clerk.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of the Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020 work session regular meeting of the Franklin Township Council was provided as required by law.
If we could have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Chase. We don't have a flag. I will. That won't work. So, Councilman Chase, if you would lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance. You're muted, Councilman Chase.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Councilman Galtieri, the invocation.
As we gather today as members of the Township Council, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our service to fellow citizens and to our community. Keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Let us continue to strive to make a better world. I would ask that we take a moment of silence to just remember the legacy and the passing of Associate Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, as well as the members of our community that we've lost in over the past 2 weeks to senseless violence, and also just to those members that we've lost, or those members of our community that we continue to lose and continue to suffer from the COVID-19.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Well said. Madam Master Clerk, please call the roll. Councilman Olachaka, you are, and Deputy Mayor Olachaka, you are not on video on the meeting.
Councilman Embarrasson?
Here.
Councilman Chase?
Here,
Councilwoman Francois? Councilman Galtieri?
Here.
Mayor Kramer?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Onijaka?
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt?
Here.
Councilman Vasanella?
here.
Councilman Wright?
Here.
Thank you. Accommodations and proclamations, we have none. It is now time to open to the public. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
And seconded, all in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are open to the public, 3 minutes each. State your name and address. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, please go into the chat window and use the raised hand option. If you are dialed in by phone, you may press *3. Currently, I see 3 people logged in. Does anybody wish to speak at this time? Mr. Mayor, I do not see anybody indicating they would like to speak.
Seeing no one coming forward from the public, I'll motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor of closing the public portion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it. Public session is closed. We are now on to council comments and reports. Mr. Wright, we will start with you. Wright, Pruitt, Vasanella, Ambassador, Chase, and Galtieri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Sunday, I attended a function for a young man that was killed. 150 to 200 of his family and friends came together to remember Liam Covey, age 28, with love and affection. Lionel was a graduate of the Franklin Township school system. He was killed in New Brunswick. in a senseless act of violence. Family and friends talked about him, shared memories of him, but also about the violence that plagues our community. Our jails are full of young men who commit violent acts that will forever wear a scarlet letter on their backs. As a film director, I witnessed the large toll as we as film directors must face. Families are torn apart. Children are losing their fathers. Society misses another youth. Society misses someone that could be someone because they are someone. Killings over small actions, stupid actions, crazy actions, drugs, they're a waste of talent. For, hey, the next guy could be you fill in. We oppose police actions that kill African Americans. We look to protest, march, and demand change. But where are the marches, the protests over what we do to ourselves? Where's the change that we are asking for? Where's the change that we can put together? The police are hardworking, men and women, no doubt, but contain a few rotten apples that cast a dim light over all police officers. They could not stop this because it was a random act of violence. No one could stop. So when people ask me, well, Carl, where are the police? Carl, where are they? Do we have enough? And I say, well, yeah, we have enough, but they can't be everywhere. Do you want a policeman on every corner? Then they tell you no, because it's in your business. Do you want a policeman on every street, you want to see them around the neighborhood more? What do you want? Because they're there. It's just that certain things happen and they're not there. Then you notice them. Be very careful of that. Be very careful of that. We always say one solution to the problem are jobs. That's a beautiful thing we say. Where are the jobs? That's an answer to half the problem. Half. The other half, I can't work for what you pay me. I hear that all the time. I can't work for that money. Can't do it. Can't do it. The township has many jobs that pay good wages and require no education, none whatsoever. Just look at the mayor over there. He's got a college degree. He's got a degree in everything. He's got the Air Force behind him. He's got medical school behind him. He's got it all. But yet he started at the bottom as an intern and worked his way up. I'm a film director. I had to be an apprentice, but I worked my way up. You'd be surprised. Dr. Chase, he worked his way up, went through school, did what he had to do, And now he's Rutgers University. Gotta love him. Gotta love him. You can work for the city. I'm telling you, Irvington, Franklin, they have jobs. No one wants to work for Amazon, but Amazon has damn jobs. All you have to do is go fill out the application and get the job. They pay good money, $15 an hour. There are jobs everywhere. The only question you have to answer, are you willing to start from the bottom and work your way up? If you're not willing to do that, don't holler about jobs. If you're not willing to do that, don't holler about jobs, because it's an old tired refrain, and after a while, in, out. That's just the way we do it. In one ear, out the other. So look at what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you want, and just do it. Just do it. Because you see, in 20 to 30 years, if you're 20, 30 years later, you're 50, you're going on 60, what do you have to fall back on? What do you have? Social Security. That's it. That's all you have. You have money in the bank? Maybe. Pension in your back pocket. Do you have a pension? Do you have money coming in besides Social Security? Because violence, stupidity, that scarlet letter may influence your next employer. That letter sits on your back. You don't want it. You don't want it. Don't want it at all. Because that in and of itself will make it look ugly. Ugly. What do you have? I say again, what do you have when you get old? You lived a life of violence. You did a couple robberies. You did some shootings. You went to jail. You had a couple babies. You worked a couple jobs. What do you have? I know I wouldn't want to do violence. I've been out there. I'm not ashamed to say it. I hung out. But there comes a point in time where you have to grow up. Guns don't solve everything, my friend. Violence, stupidity, gang violence, stupidity. Township officials, I'll get off my soapbox now. Township officials also in attendance, Councilwoman Crystal Pruitt, our Public Safety Director Spruill, Lieutenant Regan, and Sergeant Hebron. They all talked about the violence in our community and ways to stop it. You know, I think I'm gonna get on my soapbox one more time. Just one more time, tell you a little story. You're gonna love it. I had a funeral in North. Mama came in, Daddy came in, everybody cried, sister cried, everybody cried. We put the funeral together, went down to church. The minister comes in, he does the same thing. He preaches a service. Whether he knows the young man, I don't know, but he'll preach the service. One service, the young man wore his gang colors. They put him in his colors. Looked sharp in that casket. Sharp. Gang colors. He went into the the hall or whatever you want to call it, there was this beautiful sheet hanging up on the wall, and it was spray painted with his likeness. I mean, it was outstanding. I mean, the guy was an artist. Whoever it was an artist. It looked good. Okay. Limousine comes in, and everybody lines up, you know. Mama, she gets out the limousine. And I had to look twice. Because Mama had on the gang colors. Mama had on the gang colors. So, all right. That's cool. I much love. I missed something though. And it took someone else to tap me to say, look. The boy couldn't have been no older than 3 or 4 years old. What did he have on? Gang colors. So from 3 or 4 years old, he's going to go up in that gang with those colors. He has been indoctrinated into that gang. You hang with a couple of people on the street, you get your hands together, and you start fighting. That's bad news for me. Can't do it. Mr. Mayor, I'm done. Mr. Mayor?
Yep,
I'm done.
I was just absorbing what you had said. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Councilwoman Pruitt.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilman Wright. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to say after that. But I was able to attend the vigil on Sunday. It was very moving and it was a very large crowd. I want to thank the organizers for allowing me the space to be there and say a few words in support of the family, and obviously introduce our public safety director, as well as Sergeant Heaven, who is running our community relations bureau, in a show of solidarity and that we take the public safety for all of our communities, especially the communities that have been experiencing these spate of incidences very seriously. I did not have any other committees. We did not have public safety. We should be having it next month, and I'll have something to report out. Besides that, you know, we're still in a pandemic. Please don't forget that. I don't want to steal the mayor's thunder, but you know, there are testing opportunities, and he'll go into that. And we all need to be taking care of ourselves as we move into the fall and winter months. It will be harder, especially if you suffer from seasonal affective disorder. So just really pay attention and take care of yourself, and look after others. And that's all I really have at the moment. Just that, you know, we really need to be looking after each other and taking care of each other. And, you know, I won't be as reductive as, you know, saying that it's a certain community's fault that terrible things befall them. But, you know, we as elected officials have a responsibility to our communities. This is our communities have a responsibility to each other and to us. So that's all I'll have to say.
Thank you, Councilman Garcia.
Thank you, Councilman Wright and Councilwoman Pruitt, for what you said. I don't live too far from New Brunswick, and senseless, heartbreaking violence is just exactly that. Makes no sense, and it's just heartbreaking. People are affected by it. Excuse me, we're affected by it. We had a PW, a Public Works Committee meeting tonight. I believe Councilman Chase or Councilman Will may give more comment. Just let you know that we are spending a lot of time trying to stay on top of a lot of infrastructure work, both below ground and above ground, that this township is undertaking presently and will be undertaking substantially going forward this year, next year, and for years to come, and wrapped up quite a bit, especially having to do with road repaving for this year's budget, which finishes up in the spring as far as the actual work, and are getting a real jump on what will be in store for next year regarding that. Other than that, I was virtually at a Central Jersey Housing Resource meeting, of which I'm on the board of trustees. And there are a lot of people in Somerset County and Middlesex County, which we get some from Middlesex County relevant to that board, which handles most of Franklin's needs. There are a lot of people that are affected by COVID, and housing needs obviously are part of that when dealing with economic issues concerning COVID. But the organization which handles most of Franklin's affordable housing and other housing education issues is doing extremely well and is extremely solid financially. So they are there to assist Franklin and any Franklin residents that have any housing issues. Well, they can't handle every issue, but many housing issues they will try to help with or steer you to where you can get help. Other than that, we have a land use meeting coming up this week. And, that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Vasanello. Councilman Ambassador.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also attended the Public Works Committee meeting this evening. I'll defer to my esteemed colleagues to give us an update on that. We talked about a number of different things, like from paving project schedules, the sidewalks, to some of the new construction. So, but anyway, I wanted to talk about a very important event that is coming up in less than 6 weeks in November. As you know, November 3rd is our election. It's our duty to go out and vote and express the constitutional right. And this year, I've been getting a number of calls about mailing ballots. As you know, the government has given an executive order that this year election will be exclusively by mailing ballots. So the county clerk will be sending out mailing ballots to every address. So we should be receiving this shortly. I think the township is going to make sure accurate information is disseminated to all of you. So please, when you get the mail-in ballots, you complete it and return it as soon as possible. We will have a drop-in box at the township, as well as available in the county office. And of course, you can mail it USPS, contrary to what somebody else has been saying. They are safe. You will reach the county clerk for the county if you mail it ahead of time. So please look for those ballots and vote this time. It's a very consequential election, and I think it's important that we get our vote counted. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Chase.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did take some notes on the public work meeting. We discussed roads being paved. There's one more group of streets to be paved this fall, what we refer to as the Academy Street area, although some of the streets are quite far from that. Schoolhouse Road is done. roads where PSE&G had been digging up for the gas lines. PSE&G is supposed to repave these roads. That is to be done this fall. Next spring, we'll be doing New Brunswick Road between Cedar Grove Lane and Elizabeth Avenue. A few down in my end of town, Pleasant Plains, Sycamore, Terhune, and streets in the Eastern Farms area. And also there are a few streets that we refer to as infrastructure projects, because it's not just repaving, it's redoing the water mains, the sidewalks, the curbs and gutters. Key Avenue, for instance. And then we have some talk about streets for the 2021 budget, particularly streets in the various Pizzo and Pizzo developments, all the ones that are Rue French artist names. And also, I think with some leftover money, we should be able to do Burger Street between Marigold and Vanderbilt, east of JFK Boulevard. We discussed a possible ordinance raising the level at which trees that stick their branches out above sidewalks in the street need to be pruned, particularly so that they don't interfere with trucks on the street, and taking into account that if we ever have a snowstorm again, the branches will bend down under the snow. But that's still to be developed. We're studying the proposed Willow Avenue Park in the Township open space on just south of New Brunswick Road. We have to have a full public hearing on this, on the change of use. We think we can do it in the senior center rather than having to go to one of the school auditoriums. But we don't have a date or anything for that yet, because first we have to put up a sign explaining the project. Phillips Road ravine work, the contractor is ready to go. There's still a couple of points about permits that have to be resolved, but we should be able to get that done this year. The Catalpa project, we've submitted the archaeological study to the Department of Environmental Protection, but they're not doing very much these days, so we don't know when we'll get the approval to go ahead on that. I'd like to appreciate what Councilman Wright had to say. Point out that when we as council people toured CompuServe on Pierce Street, and they talked about the jobs that they have. When at the planning board, we heard about expansion at Vico on Elizabeth Avenue, and they talked about the jobs they were trying to fill. There are good jobs to be had in the township above the level of working at Amazon. If people will only make the contacts, and the important part there is, as Woody Allen said, just showing up. Being able to come in every day to work at the work is the most important ingredient there. And I appreciate what Councilman Wright said about me. I have to admit, I started with some advantages, but then when I got to graduate school, I was in there with people from a lot of other backgrounds. So that was the point at which, in a sense, I was starting and had to work up from there on what I could do myself. And now I'm still exercising a little bit of that, teaching one course at Rutgers. So the only problem with what Councilman Wright had to say is the people who need to hear it are probably not listening to council meetings. We have to figure out how to reach these people. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. Councilman Galtieri.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to piggyback off of what we had the DPW meeting prior, so we are continuing with the street paving for the rest of the year into early next year. Good news is that we were able to confirm that we can do a portion of the streets in the Eastern Farms areas of Johnny Bush, Culver, and Walnut. So that was a plan. That should be early spring to late spring next year. Those will be carryover roads from this year. In addition to that, some water projects are finishing up. So to the residents on Brookline, thank you for your patience. The water lines are being replaced this week, over the next couple of weeks. There will be an initial paving done, and then next spring will be when the final paving is done, similar to what was done in Willow, the Willow Eastern Farms area last year, that we had to wait till the late spring the following year just to let the ground settle.
Mr. Mayor, it appears that Councilman Galtieri has frozen.
Well, I'm glad it's not the whole session frozen.
Nope, just the councilman.
Mayor, you're muted.
So Deputy Mayor, if you could go ahead and if Councilman Galtieri comes back, and we will give him.
Mayor,
Go ahead. Yes, Deputy Mayor, go ahead.
can you hear me? I'm not hearing anybody anymore.
We can hear you, Deputy Mayor.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Deputy Mayor, we can hear you. And
Okay.
go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I would like to thank Councilman Wright and Crystal for attending Mr. Macaulay's vigil last week. And the speech they made were very touchy, most especially Councilman Wright. And the family is going through a tough moment at this particular time. You know, I've been with them, have issues with them, and they are still dealing with it. But most especially, they will have the burial ceremony coming up on 26th, and they will have a repast in Consolator's Field after the burial. So, and then they made it open that anybody can attend. So it's very, very touchy to the family. And I will be there too. So, Mayor, that's all I have for the day today.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Galtieri, are you back on? Looks like you dropped off. Again, Madam Clerk, I don't see your video. I just want to make sure you're on, you're a required member of this meeting. Okay, you're still there, so we can continue. I will go, and if Councilman Galtieri is able to get back on, then we will have an opportunity.
You're muted, Mayor.
Mayor, you're muted.
Thank you. I've been using the space bar. So if Mr. Galtieri gets back on, we will allow him to go. I will go for now. Mr. McQueen, if you can get the graphics up that I asked you to create, that would be great. While you're doing that, let me talk about there are grants for people who need to send their children to childcare because they're going to work. If you go to www.childcarenj.gov/COVID-19. So that's www.childcarenj.gov/COVID-19. There are grants available for childcare. This Sunday, we're continuing our testing program. It's at what is used to be the high school, is the Franklin Middle School, the Hamilton Street section. It's free to everyone, symptomatic, asymptomatic, don't need a doctor's order. If you have insurance, they'll take your insurance information. If you don't have insurance, it's still free. As long as I'm on that subject, I've been contacted by a few people, less than 10, that have gotten bills from their insurance company. That is an error of their insurance company. The CARES Act says all COVID-19 testing is free. If you have any issues, contact me at mayor.kramer@franklinnj.gov, mayor.kramer@franklinnj.gov, and I can get you in touch with the people at Friendly Urgent Care who can assure you that you will not be billed for it. And the last thing before I get to the graphics is school testing. I've been working with the president of the BOE, the court, and Dr. Ravalli, the superintendent, as well as the heads of several of the private schools to make available weekly random testing for children at the school. This is a way we can monitor COVID in the schools. I'm not going to get into the details of it. That's for Dr. Ravalli and the Board of Ed to mention, but this is a way to track if the disease is in the school and keep our kids and our staff safe. This is modeled after what the Air Force Academy and all the military academies are doing. Okay, now to the graphic in front of you. So this is about voting. It's vote by mail this year. And the only people who are going to be allowed to use machines are people who are handicapped in such a way that they can't use a vote by mail ballot. There are a few ways to vote, but one thing you may want to do is to track whether your vote is being counted, is go to this website, voter.svrs.nj.gov /AUTH/sign up. You go there and you can sign up, and you can then track to see if your mail-in ballot has been received. The mail-in ballot should be coming out soon. This is a way to see it. One way to vote is by dropping your mail-in ballot into one of these ballot boxes, which we have a picture of. It's going to be in front of the municipal building, in that curved driveway right in front of the municipal building, right where you park your cars. It's going to be right there. They're going to be moving it. The manager can give details. I think they're going to move it any day now. That's what it looks like. That's how I'm going to be voting. If you're afraid of putting it in the mail, that's how you can do it. And you can go to this website and track to see whether your ballot has been received. If you have any trouble, you can contact the county clerk for information. The ballots are going to be sent out soon. They have to be out by October 5th. if by October 6th or 7th, you don't have yours, then you should be calling the clerk and saying you want your ballot. It's my understanding that it's everyone who has voted in the last 4 years should be receiving a ballot. If you don't think you voted in the last 4 years and you want to vote, then put in a voter registration form or just call the clerk and see whether you're going to be sent a ballot. I want everybody to vote. I want everybody to vote. If we go to the next slide, please. Mr. McQueen. Mr. McQueen, can we show the next slide? There you go. Great, thank you. There are going to be 7 polling places, and depending on what district you're in, you're going to be at a different polling place. Again, the preferred method is mailing in the ballot or using the drop box. You will be allowed to, if you want to go to your polling place, and there'll be some method of signing in that's yet to be determined, and you can leave your mail-in ballot there. The exact rules of who goes to where are still being determined. I talked to the county clerk today, and it's still being firmed up. So it's Goodstown Firehouse, the Board of Ed building, formerly Consolata, Sierra Path, the community center right there at the municipal building, Parkside Community Center, East Franklin Firehouse, Somerset Presbyterian Church. I plan to have a town hall meeting devoted to the voting, and I want everybody to vote. Extremely important. My last, you can take down the slide. Thank you. My last comment is Councilman Wright. That was the best council comments you've ever had, maybe we've ever had, and you're now my new speechwriter. Thank you for those words. Councilman Galtieri, your opportunity to finish what you were saying.
I sincerely apologize, Mr. Mayor. Microsoft decided to restart my computer in the middle of a meeting. Really, I was just want to, I was summarizing DPW, but one thing that, just 2 quick points. One is the new bike lane have been painted on New Brunswick Road, so please be mindful of that. That the goal is to provide a safe area for people to bike on that road. So please be mindful of the new traffic patterns in some areas. And as I guess just a public service announcement that it's starting to get colder, so people are going to start using their furnaces. Please make sure that your smoke detectors and CO detectors are working properly. And I know typically we say check your batteries when the clocks change, but now would be a good time also just to check this. So just a reminder of that. Thank you, Mr. Wright, Councilman Wright, for your comments. It's that's a good reminder that people can rise to their ranks to rise up and gain opportunities, that a lot of people have done it. And on a personal note, Mr. Mayor, if you would afford me for a second, I just want to say a happy belated birthday to my mother. She had a milestone birthday this past Sunday, not as significant as your mother had, Mr. Mayor, but I wish that we could have been down in North Carolina to celebrate with her, but COVID travel is tough this year. So happy belated birthday, Mom. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, you can tell us what we forgot to say.
Actually, I think you covered everything tonight. I don't know that I have too much to add. What I will say is, Mr. McQueen, if you're listening, do you have the ability to allow me to share a screen right now? Just to
Yep.
go forward.
I'm going to make you the presenter, so give me 1 second.
Sure.
You should be the presenter.
Okay. And I will share my screen here. So the mayor had mentioned that there is a drop box. So what you're seeing here is an aerial photo of the municipal building. This is DeMont Lane. This is the driveway in. And this is the circular driveway. Where my hand is pointed right now next to these parking spots is where the drop box will be located, right near the front entrance of the building. Along the circle, you can park your vehicle there, or along the curb to drop your ballot off. So I just wanted to let everyone know that that's where the drop box will be. So, now, to go back to where I was.
So we just heard from the manager that people will be allowed to stop momentarily at the sides there, to drop out and drop off their ballot and drive away.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to just point out that you can't go in that side of the parking lot and enter into the horseshoe that way. It's still a one-way. I believe you want to come in. It was just cut off from the screen. I don't know if the manager realized.
No, I mean, so I'm limited to screen size, Councilman. So obviously I have to show where it is, and I wanted to make it so people could see.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure people realized the one-way enter from the traditional way.
The location is where the location is. So yes, it is a one-way driveway from the other driveway, but it is the U-shaped driveway in front of our building. Okay, and so that, and then the only other thing I have to add is that late last week I received a letter from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, related to our 5-year cycle renewal of our community rating system for our flood insurance program in the township. This is for anyone who needs, so every town that has properties that qualify for flood insurance through the federal government have to go through a 5-year ratings program. And we retained our class 6 rating for our 5-year renewal, which means that our residents receive anywhere between a 5 and 10% discount on their flood insurance based on our flood reduction and floodplain activities that the town does. And so that was good news. So anyone who qualifies for flood insurance will receive a 5 to 10% discount based on where they live due to the efforts of primarily our engineering department and Scott Thomas, our senior engineer. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Next item is council discussion items. We have none. Now, for the minutes, I present the following minutes to Township Council for approval. Township Council work session regular meeting September 8th, 2020 at 7 p.m. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Is that a second?
Second.
Yes.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion, any corrections? Madam Master Clerk.
Councilman Morrison,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka, Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
You're muted.
Still here.
Okay, I said yes. I finally got unmuted. Okay.
Thank you. It passes. Approval of the warrants in the amount of $1,212,774.45 on September 22nd, 2020 are presented to the Township Council for payment. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Anyone like to discuss a particular item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Councilman Morrison,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Words pass. We are on now to the public hearing and second readings. These are ordinances that have gone through a first reading, which is the purpose of which is to identify to the public that there will be a vote and a public hearing about these ordinances. We will have public hearings on each one, and then a motion for adoption. Ordinance 42-20, ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin County, Somerset, State of New Jersey, Chapter 180 is presented in public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required to have a motion open to the public.
So moved.
And a second. Moved in second, all in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Mr. McQueen, I noticed that we have the representatives from the two newspapers, but I see no one else.
Correct. Anybody wishing to speak from the public, if you go into the chat box and use the raised hand option, we will call on you. If you're dialed in by phone, you can hit *3. Seeing none, Mr. Mayor?
Mayor, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing based on there's no one looking to speak on this ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second, and all in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Public portion is closed for this portion. Do we have a motion on the item?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved in second. So this is basically all three of these ordinances are we're playing a little catch up with a little bookkeeping, putting fees to being more realistic, getting rid of fees for things we no longer do, such as we no longer record the meetings, we video them, so there's no longer a fee for getting the recording, etc. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Morrison,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
It passes. Ordinance 4331-20. Ordinance amending the municipal code of Franklin County, Somerset, State of New Jersey, in particular, Chapter 5, Administration of Government, is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required due to the motions open to the public.
So moved.
Seconded.
And seconded, all in favor of opening to the public, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. We are now open to the public. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, anybody from the public wishing to speak, please use the chat function and the raised hand feature, or if you're dialed in by phone, you may hit *3. Mr. Mayor, I see no one indicating they wish to speak.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor of closing the public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public portion on this item is closed. We have a motion on the item.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. This is similar to the first. Departments are changed around. They're under different department heads, etc. This is again more bookkeeping of what we do in the town, getting the code up to what we've been doing. Any other comments on discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Morrison,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka, Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Ordinance 4332-20, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the Township of Franklin County, Somerset, State of New Jersey, more particularly Chapter 62, salaries and compensation is presented for public hearing and final adoption. The public hearing has been noticed as required. For the motion to open to the public.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All wishing to open to the public, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We're open to the public on this item only. Mr. McQueen.
Yes, any member from the public wishing to speak, please use the chat box and the raised hand feature. If you're dialed in by phone, you may use *3. Mr. Mayor, I see nobody indicating they want to speak on this matter.
Mr. Mayor, seeing nobody looking to speak on this matter, I'll motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. All in favor of closing public portion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried. Public portion is closed. We have a motion on the item.
So moved.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. So this is an item that's adjusting the salary ranges for people. Again, it is being brought into alignment with what we are doing and with what the marketplace will bear. It has come to my attention that Facebook has had some comments about that council is giving themselves a 30% raise. If you look at it and misinterpret it, you would see that it's two salaries are mentioned for the mayor. One is 12,000 and one is 15,000. That is not a raise from 12,000 to 15,000. That's a range. The language that is being used is exactly the same language that has been used every year. And this is not the document that would be used to give council or the mayor a raise. That document is called the budget. There is no raise being generated at this time. Are my comments correct, Madam Clerk? Because you're the one who knows more about this than any of us.
That is correct. You are correct.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments? Discussion? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
We're now on to item number 13, ordinances on introduction and first reading. We have done. We're now on to item number 14, the consent agenda. Items A through K of the world's shortest consent agenda I've ever seen is listed on the consent agenda portion of this meeting are presented to the Township Council for adoption. Do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on what I'm pulling item? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Resolutions to be voted on separately. We have none. Old business, 2020 boards, committees, and commissions, vacancies. Do we have any nominations? Hearing none. We are now on to executive session. The following resolution is presented to Township Council for consideration. Resolution 20-35. Authorize executive session possible land acquisition, Ridge Street. Do you have a motion on the executive session?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk?
Councilman Embarrasson,
Yes.
Councilman Chase,
Yes.
Councilman Galtieri,
Yes.
Mayor Kramer,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Oni Jaka,
Yes.
Councilwoman Pruitt,
Yes.
Councilman Vasanella,
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Okay, so at this time, the council is going to adjourn. We're going to go into executive session. The council members, I remind you, you're going to sign off of this WebEx, and then there's another WebEx we will sign on to for security. We will then, there's no action going to be taken after this, so there's not going to be any voting after this. So that is essentially the end of our meeting. Be well, Franklin, please take care of yourselves, and Mr. Councilman Wright. Thank you.